floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over.
Hello. What day is today? Let's go with Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good day today. I can see some requests in chat here. I'll try and keep that open, so I'm paying attention to it a little bit. Let me see. Could you please explain in further detail why the proposed mining tax won't go through? Yeah, it's Elizabeth Warren. She's a dumb bitch. Nobody gives a fuck about her. Let me show you something real quickly that indicates that. This is the number of bills proposed by Elizabeth Warren. This is how many became a law. She co-sponsored 1,766, and only 45 of those came through. So the fact that this is her bill gives us a pretty decent indication that it will not happen. Also, we've had scares like this before. Jay posted this. This was back in May of 2023, so just last year. Big scare on CleanSpark, and then it went up 300 points in the next, or 300% in the next 3 months. So take it for what it's worth. All right, back to what I was doing. The portfolio. The portfolio today, this account's not so good, but the rest did really good. I've got about $250,000, maybe a little bit more on MicroStrategy. That was up on the day. Looks like Tesla was up a little bit. PayPal was up a little bit. And then a number of shitcoins did okay too. Pocahontas, yeah, that's right. So yeah, the ones that didn't do good though. SoFi got hit pretty good today. Hood got hit. And then again, some of the Bitcoin miners, Ethy, stuff like that got hit. All in all though, the markets didn't do too bad. But so one of my main shitcoin portfolios here had a good day in regard to Near Protocol and Injective and Avalanche. All of those performed quite nicely. So that actually brought me up. And there's a few others in my other portfolio too that did all right. So today wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. I think at one point it was. I was probably down 6 figures, like 100 plus something. But all in all, it ended nice. I have no complaints. Now, there are some things that are interesting to note. We actually had like the big caps gaining strength back today. Chips gaining strength back today and pushing higher. I don't think that's actually a bad thing. I'm going to just throw that out there. We'll talk about inflation and some of the reads. I think a lot of that is seasonality, and I'm not even worried about it. I'm taking the Tom Lee approach on that. I think we still lower rates in June. But again, this is pretty broad across the market today. Not a lot of love for fintech, not a lot of love for Tesla and some of these others. This isn't the final number. I got to see if I can get an updated version of this where it doesn't show my user ID. So it gets better. Tesla was only down 0.13%. So some of these numbers looked even better in the end. I also wanted to point out that the S&P is pushing up against this next fib level pretty hard. Again, a lot of people back here didn't believe we're going to have a cup and handle on the S&P, but it's pretty beautiful. And man, if that doesn't look like a rocket launch out of that handle, I don't know what does. We might see some resistance here. We are overextended on the RSI. Let me get to a weekly number just to get something better. By a significant margin, going back to like the highest level since 2019. So theoretically, the S&P should try and pause here. I still have the theory that it's not, and that we're going to break up higher, and that we're real close to it. If I zoom in here, I mean, we are on that fib today, the way we close. We are just on it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. And then again, we get more inflation-related data on Thursday. So that'll be interesting too. But markets today did pretty darn good with flat, depending upon your perspective, negative reads in inflation data. Dow Jones is getting close to a breakout again. So again, just another indice that looks like it's doing better and better. And then I'll also pull up, let me grab this here real quick, the NASDAQ. Again, looking to test that golden retracement zone on the fib again, which is pretty cool. So these are all very interesting, the fact that it's trying to break through here. So a lot of the markets did good. The ones that didn't, like the Russell today was down, but that doesn't matter much. Here, I'll just show that too. That doesn't really matter much because we could totally backtest. I mean, we haven't really backtest this first fib, right? It wouldn't be crazy for the Russell to take a breather, hit this, try and establish a base before going up to the next fib. This thing's been under it for a long time. And so from a technical level, the Russell still looks really safe. Now, the dollar ticked up a little bit, nothing crazy. When the dollar isn't moving that much, markets generally do well. Oh, let me see. Did I skip oil? Oh, I might have. Let me move oil over. Or did I lose oil? All right, whatever. We'll pull it up. Let me save the dollar real quick. And we'll pull up some oil. All right, oil. I still think oil is ready to break down. It closed underneath our 50 moving average. So I could see some weakness here, and I could see that try and move down. I would think pretty quickly. I think it's been trying to go up for a while, and it's just not getting it up. All right, to economic data. First thing I want to look at, NFIB Business Optimism Index. So a lot of the inflation data came in pretty much in line. So we'll look at that quickly in a second, but this is one that's kind of interesting that I want to point out. So if I go to the max time frame here, you can see that we're at depressed levels for business optimism. One could argue that we're already pretty close to where we were at the depths of the great financial crisis. So this could be a counter indicator of the fact that things are going to get better, not worse. Because again, look at how long it's taken for this thing to fall. If you look at the overall time frame that it's taken it to fall, it's actually, again, pretty close to the depths of the 2008 great financial crisis. But what is the NFIB Business Optimism Index and its reading? Let's read it real quick. So the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index in the U.S. edged down to 89.4 in February 2024, the lowest in 9 months, from 89.9 in January, below forecasts of 90.7. 23% of small business owners reported that inflation was their single most important business problem in their operating business. So you got less than a quarter of people that think businesses that think that inflation is the primary problem. It says up 3 points from last month, and replacing labor quality is the top problem. So labor quality was the big issue before, probably because for a while there, the labor market was running hot and people that were going to apply for jobs sucked. But they had to hire them because the pool was very light. All right, reports of labor quality as the single most important problem for business owners decreased 5 points to 16%. So that dropped a lot this last read. The lowest reading since April of 2020. While inflation pressures have eased since peak in 2021, small business owners are still managing the elevated costs of higher prices and higher interest rates. The labor market also eased slightly as small business owners are having an easier time attracting and retaining employees. So that's arguably good, right? We want to know that inflation, even though it ticked up as one of the reasons on here, we know that still, it didn't bounce this last time. It's flat. We'll look at some of that in a second. But we're hearing that businesses are having a better time, on average, being able to find qualified employees. We want that. And again, super low levels, long period of time. You could go back to, what is this over here? This is the 70s. So look at this. Look at how depressed it was in the 70s to 80s. And then we shot back up, right? And then in 2008, the great financial crisis, and then we shot back up. So this is more likely to get better than worse. All right, let me go back. All right, core inflation year over year. Let's go back and look at historical. So you can see we're over here, 3.8%, still high and elevated, but you got to remember the 2% goal from the Fed was for 2025, not now. So I would say we're pretty in line. Consensus had us at 3.7. Forecast was 3.8. We closed at 3.8. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But there's seasonality in this. There's shelter components, too, that are going to drop. So I expect the next read of this to be better for the month of March and get a lot closer to what our baseline was here. Let me just show that again. Get a lot closer to maybe the upper end of our baseline over here, the upper 2s or low 3s. And that would be a much more normal range to operate in. Even if you go back to the 80s here, look at this. We were in the 3s and 2s for like upper end towards 3 for a very long period of time on and off going into the 2000s. So it's not a crazy number. It's not and there is no reason why we have to have 2 specifically. The Fed likes 2% inflation because then the monkeys don't know that the government is stealing all their money. 3%, they might be like scratching their heads or their backs or something, being like, this feels weird. 4%, they're probably going to start to be like, whoa, this sucks a little bit. And then double digits and people actually know what's going on. So they don't like that, right? That's the only reason they care. They don't want you to understand that they're constantly stealing from you. All right, next one, United States inflation rate. So this isn't with core. It's at 3.2%. It's not really crazy compared to what it is. So if you ignore core components, and core, like shelter makes up a big part of that, if you ignore core, we're actually sitting at a pretty decent range and ready to drop into the twos. And this is probably closer to reality right here. All right, CPI, we'll skip that stuff. It doesn't really show you anything different. Red Book year over year. Let's see here. So again, this is for retail. Let me read it down here. Where was it up here? Red Book Index, the United States increased by 3% in the week ending March 9th, 2024. Over the same week in the previous year, Red Book Index in the United States averaged 3.59. Okay, so let's go down here. Let's just look at the chart. Still depressed, but it looks like it's still trending higher. Or at least that's like a local trend over like the last couple of readings. All right. I was going to say that one of the only concerns I have inflation are base costs of goods, right? Energy is a base component of that. I don't love the fact that with gas here, we were dropping really good down to 213. Never really see these levels at the gas station because you have so many additives to it, taxes, all this crap. But now we're ticking up a little bit. So I would rather see us get back down here. I'd rather see us bottom feeding on this number because then we know that this cost isn't carrying over into like all the shipping and everything else that occurs along the way in transportation. We don't want base components of inflation to increase. I don't think we are though, and if you look at a lot of other stuff, it's still falling off a cliff. If we go back and look at, let me see here, there's a ton of things you can look at, but we'll look at HRC steel. So when you think HRC steel, think of like China building skyscrapers. So you can see where this was just a crazy number. This is like the high density stuff. And it's still super low. Like it hasn't went up much at all. And it's pretty flat. And a lot of different components look like this right now, especially in the energy sector. Uranium is like the top performer right now. But outside of that, like if you look at natural gas, if you look at any of this other stuff, it's just falling apart still. So it's not going up by a lot. Let me show you here. So I mean, look at natural gas. We're near record lows in history. Going back to the 90s. So you can see how a lot of other stuff though isn't ticking up. So I'm still not worried about inflation. I do like that we're back in the greed territory today, even though we had markets go up, and I don't mind the chip makers, especially like Nvidia up 7%, SMCI up 7.66, Intel up 1, AMD up 2.2. I don't mind these doing really well, and some of the mega caps doing really well. It just shows that people are still addicted to making money, and we want that. We want market participants to be shoveling more money into the markets, not less. Now, again, this doesn't look like it's rolling over at all. You can see what a rollover looks like. It looks like we're still just grinding in a safe zone here on the Fear and Greed Index, so I don't have a lot of concerns there either. All right, so real quickly, one of the first things I want to touch on, I made a video about Microstrategy versus the miners. I've been getting questions and comments all day about people that are freaked out about miners and that are jumping into Microstrategy. I want to cover a couple of things for anybody that might have missed that video. I like MicroStrategy. I think it's a great play. I actually think there's a short squeeze going on. Bitcoin Munger was talking about this, talking about how there's not a lot of days to close in the shorts, and they're fucked. So we could see this go higher. We could see it maybe 2,000s. I don't think that's crazy. And I probably got, I don't know, I might have 275,000 of this today. Maybe more because it closed up 7.35%. But this is a good trade. I would look at this as a much better alternative versus the ETFs because it's squeezable. There's no fees associated with it. And when Michael Saylor, this company right now is more than double what it should be valued at. If you were just going to value it by its cash, subtracting debt, and its Bitcoin holdings and what the company is worth itself, which is probably closer to $1 billion or $2. So this company is overvalued right now, but it will probably go more so. And that's perfectly fine over the short term. This is great for an ETF type play because when it's overvalued like that, like this last weekend, we saw Michael Saylor spend, what was it, $750 million. He bought a bunch of Bitcoin again and diluted stock previously to do it. And he'll keep doing that. He'll keep doing that. He can't do debt. He used to do debt because he could get it for nothing. Super low interest rates. But he doesn't do that anymore because rates are too high. So now it's just share dilution. And that's okay to do because when you buy Bitcoin and then the Bitcoin goes up in value, you made the company more valuable and then you can dilute it more. And so this could just keep happening. As long as the shorts, MicroStrategy will keep moving higher as long as the shorts are willing to step in front of this train. And this could be like a GameStop moment. You could make a lot of money. That's why one of my friends, Caleb Bronson, some people were shitting on him because he jumped out of his Bitcoin miners and jumped into MicroStrategy. That might turn out to be an okay plan. So don't trash talk him. Here's the thing, though. That's going to be a shorter term event. There are things that you have to realize. In the last cycle, MicroStrategy went up 1,600%. Right now, it's up almost 1,100. And the strategy hasn't changed since then. He was buying Bitcoin, stacking it, putting it on the balance sheet, diluting shares, taking out debt, buying Bitcoin, increasing. He was doing all this stuff to increase the value. So strategy hasn't changed. It's just exploded already. Here's what I want to caution you about. It's not like that didn't happen last time either. Okay? It's not like MicroStrategy didn't explode higher either. And then it had a massive wick down. See this air right here? That fucked its momentum. Because people looked at this and said, it's a little toppy. I don't know, man. What else is out there? Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin miners are a great thing to invest in. And they're really small. And they're going to have more rapid growth. And that will cause you to make a bunch of money on the upside. And so this trade died back then for that reason. And it was very overextended on the RSI. What was it at? 90s? 95 or something? That's an insane number. So this FOMO that people are experiencing right now with MicroStrategy, again, just like I caution you against it. And it could, I still think this cycle, I think there's room for this thing to run, which is why I've got 250 to 300,000 in it. But I wouldn't leave miners, which have a massive multiple with some of them, to what they can produce, like 2 to 3x potentially what MicroStrategy can do, and 3 to 5x what Bitcoin can do. I wouldn't jump from those when they're down 30-40% into this when it's already outperformed drastically and is getting ready to do a short squeeze. Because when that short squeeze really happens, the price will skyrocket. And unless you're a day trader, you'll need to get the fuck out at the right time, because you can get one of these big mega wicks back down, and then you could have a consolidation period. For MicroStrategy, it lasted a year. I mean, that was it. So, but here's some stuff I wanted to show you. So again, short squeeze going to happen. Short term, could make a ton of money off of MSTR. And then it's better than an ETF. Those are the things you should take away from that part. And then also, I said this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to reiterate it. Don't worry about, everybody's throwing, the political people from the right are saying this is the Biden bill. It's the Elizabeth Warren bill. Not that Biden isn't supporting it or trying to, but it's not going to get fucking passed. So get over it. Don't even think about it. If you think the miners are dropping because of this, buy it. All right. So there's something else real quickly that I want to talk about in regard to miners. Somebody had some questions here. They were saying, hey, MicroStrategy has 240 BTC. That's not right. It's 205K. And they're worth $14.5 billion right now, if you look at that, right? But then you have to subtract $2 billion in debt versus what their cash position and their Bitcoin holdings are. So it gets them down to like $12.5 billion. And right now, MicroStrategy closed, I think, at $26 billion or higher. So they've got about half of the actual value of Bitcoin versus what their price is trading at right now, and it's probably going to keep going up. But this person said, hey, but Mara only has like what, 17K in Bitcoin, 1.2 billion, but their market cap's 5.3. So they're actually the overvalued one, right? Did I miss anything? Yes, missed a ton of shit. Again, we already covered the disparity. We already covered the fact that you got to subtract debts from it like this, right? This is not bad debt. Michael Saylor was brilliant. Some of this debt he got for like 0.25% with 5-year terms before rates started to go up. So he did a brilliant job. But point number 3, MicroStrategy only has the benefit of their Bitcoin growth because their company isn't growing that much. And they're a $26 billion company. So they're 5x Mara. They're like 35x Bitfarms or something. And they're in between for some of these others. But again, their valuation is much, much higher than these Bitcoin miners. So Bitcoin miners, it's going to be easier to move the price higher. But also I cover in here, so they don't have the benefit of their company growing. Their company's revenues aren't growing. It's their Bitcoin stack that's growing and making them more valuable, right? Miners actually generate revenue. Again, MicroStrategy, I'm not dissing on the company. They just don't generate that much compared to what their actual market cap is right now. And so, but miners, as the price starts to go up and demand increases, we're already seeing kind of like up before the halving and a little bit after the halving. Sure, people are building up their hash rate, but it's not like it's going to be a ton more, guys. And the price is going to outstrip it. So the revenues of these guys are going to increase if they have Bitcoin. And with the FASB accounting rules now, they'll be able to count that at whatever it was at the last day of the quarter. And they have actual revenue growth, whereas MicroStrategy does not have that component, okay? That's something you need to think of. Again, these guys are much smaller in size. And I wanted to lay this out there. So miners will therefore see a greater percentage of revenue and earnings expansion. They're starting at a low base in their small little companies. So when the financial guys start looking at these quarters, they're going to go, whoa, these miners are growing at a massive rate. We should raise our target. They should have a higher price target. And they don't keep track of shit like the miners, the Bitcoin cycle and the halving and when the peak likely is and this other stuff. They just don't care about that stuff. They care about the financials of the company. And what they'll see is a much stronger growth rate than MicroStrategy has. So again, MicroStrategy has that benefit of the balance sheet expanding. These guys have balance sheet and revenues. So that's why I like miners that have both those components, because they have that doubling of growth. Not doubling, but like more. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say on here. And again, I don't think that the difficulty rate isn't going to raise that much. I talked about this earlier too. The difficulty rate is going up by like, in that video I talk about it, it's by like less than half of what it was the last cycle. So the rate of increase of hash and difficulty is slowing. That's another important thing. And then at the same time, you have really huge inflows and just a massive valve opening up all across the world. I'm not going to repeat all my talking points. Thank you for everybody else that's joined here recently. Let's move on. I did want to touch on this real quick. I know we're talking a lot of Bitcoin, but it's a big thing, and it's going to be the biggest thing for the next year, probably. One of them. So Bitcoin on exchanges, let me go back here. It's at a 6-year low. 6 years. It's like the end of 2007, or actually, I guess the beginning of 2018 was the last time we saw Bitcoin on exchanges this low. And then we have low volumes on OTC desks, which is why, this is why we're still seeing Bitcoin's price going up. Right? This is why it's still going up. I'm trying to look for it real quick here. Got to find my ticker. It's around here somewhere. You know what? Oh, there it is. It's literally my next one. Yeah, so let's get to that. Bitcoin actually looks strong again today. It had a dip. It didn't do much. It couldn't even go back to the previous fib, and it wicked up. And so if we close up here, if we don't drop down like pretty far, like down under, I would say 70, if we don't close the day under 70, then I say we're still bullish and this thing's still trying to go higher. So that should be interesting. All right, real quick, I'm going to run through some other charts on my end of the stuff that I hold, and then we'll go into your guys' requests. All right, ARCG, not a great day. I've said this before, but they really got to get it up. They got to get it up. We got to see them getting above this red line, which is basically the highest amount of volume in the history of the company right at this price point, at like the 3180, 3190 level. I become a lot more bullish on the price when it gets above that, and it's just not pulling it off. I do have a decent chunk. I have over a couple 100,000, I think, in that one. All right, I'm going to throw... I don't have this one, but everybody talks about it, and it's just next to my list. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Oh, no, I didn't. No, it's not right. Let me fix this real quick. Somebody gave me a shortcut to try and pull up my charts quicker. I got to look at it and try it sometime, though. So I'm not doing it, but I'm going to try. All right, so this one I called right. This one, again, having problems with that resistance line, still breaking down 2.56% on Palantir, down another 0.2% after hours. I think these guys continue to have the pain train unless we get S&P inclusion or just some really cool fundamental stuff that drives them higher. All right, let's see here. Let's pull up Square. Nope. God, I'm just clicking all the wrong shit. All right, here we go. So Square, still underneath that red resistance line from the way back, almost 2 years. But again, it had a nice jump at the latter half of the day, like most of the market, and it's pressing. It looks like it's pressing up against this again, and it's got like a bullish hammer trying to go for it. So that's good. Price action on Square still looks pretty darn bullish. Let's pull up PayPal. PayPal was flat on the day. That's pretty remarkable. Some of the other fintech stuff got hit pretty good, and again, most of Bitcoin, anything associated with Bitcoin got smoked. But you can see where we're bouncing between the 50 and the 100. I want to see us get above the 50. That's this purple line here. Ideally, we get above the 200, which is up here in like the 61-ish zone. Once we start to get up here, if we find support right up here, I'm going to start to get really bullish about what's going to happen with our price action short term, because that's where we could start running. And I think we'll get there. I think people just have to get bored with making money off of other stuff like Microstrategy and chips and some of their large caps. I think once they feel like that narrative is played out, I think that's where we move on to other stuff. All right, so SoFi took a hit today. ARK Invest has been buying a lot of this. I don't know if they bought again today. I don't know if anybody can throw that into chat, but I still think we're good here. We had a nice wick up, and then we got peak volume here. We're underneath peak volume, but we still, again, we had that sweet wick. So if we can bounce again heading in tomorrow and get above like 760 range again, that'll be good. It'll be positive. It means that we're able to find support again down on this downward resistance line. And then if we can get above the volume and find support there, it just increases the likelihood that we're going to be trending higher. And this chart just looks like it wants to. Like, the slant is getting less aggressive each time. And so I'm still bullish SoFi. Plus, that offering that they had that was bullshit, and everybody's worries in regard to it. And if anything, it gives an incentive for the price to drive up into the 12s because of the way that everything is structured. All right. So Hood continues to retrace off of this fib line. Again, this is why I sold a decent chunk of this a while ago. Once we started to hit up against it, and I needed money for other stuff, buying miners of all things, so they dropped too. But yeah. But this with options, you get a steeper drop, and so you don't want to stick around for options when you think they might have some key resistance, and you're not 100% positive about the macro or the technicals of the macro and the actual chart you're looking at. All right, real quickly, I'm gonna pull up Tesla, and then I'll start going through here. The shortcut to pull up. Oh, thanks, man. Cool. Just a period. Okay, I'll try it. Tesla. Oh, I forgot I did all this. So I have this video talking about the 4 phases, went in depth on deliveries and just when things are happening. We're going to switch, though, and get a little closer in here. And I'm going to have to take out some of this bold because just too much to look at. So again, Tesla tried to drop again today, but it didn't do a good job of dropping, and it actually wicked back up. So it looks like we're doing better and better. Looks like this could actually have some staying power and might go higher. I think maybe some of the fears of the inflation before people started looking at the reporting and understanding the seasonality and the shelter component might have drove this down, because again, Tesla wants lower rates. They demand it, just like Enphase and all these others. I think Enphase closed down 6% today. So they definitely want that. I'm going to pull up Ethereum real quick too, and then I'll do your guys' requests. Because Ethereum definitely has a retrace as well. I think it's right at the fib. Yeah, same thing. So Ethereum rejected at the fib, tried to go over it, stayed over it for a day, got rejected back down. Looks like it's trying to wick up a little bit. So we'll see if it can get back up above there. If it can do that, it's going to try and run to 6,000, or at least the all-time high, which is closer to 5. All right, let me go back up. Enphase. Yeah, okay, so somebody actually did ask about Enphase. I'll hit that one real quick before, because I was just talking about it. One sec here. So Enphase, it looks like it's testing down. It does not look like a bullish thing. It looks like it's kind of hit a top and it's trying to go down. Because you could argue that this is like a left shoulder head, right shoulder, maybe a little bit lower. You could almost make that argument. But this is just, it's going too deep though. It looks like it wants to break down. And it did actually close underneath peak volume for the history of the company. So I would expect that you could test down to, let me see here, 112 all the way down to like 103 even, before finding like some strong volume support. And yeah, it's not doing very well. All right, let me go back up. I'm gonna start at the beginning so I don't miss anybody. EOC, if this is the one I think it is, I can kind of look at a chart, but the fundamentals, let me see here. All right, so yeah, still trying to find support underneath peak volumes. So not really doing anything to break out and up. It's a $202 million company. Let's look it up over here. I can't remember if this one was getting better, if it still looked like shit. It did. Okay, yeah, it was getting better. That's what I thought. So they had a revenue. Let's look at their estimates, though. So these guys are guiding towards actually making money, but it's not a lot. It's like $14 million. And then their estimates have them still losing earnings per share. So they're either maybe diluting or something else. But their shares outstanding did go down this last quarter. But they have debt. They have more debt than they have cash, which isn't great. And so these guys are trying to ramp. We'll see if they can do it. It's good that they actually have some kind of revenue increase. It looked pretty scary for them from Q2 and Q3 of 2023. But this, if you delete some of that, and maybe this quarter over here in 2022, it almost looks like a decent ramp in revenue. But again, it's one of those things where their cap is 203 million. They do have a large revenue increase now, so there's some metrics that are starting to look more positive, but I don't like the high levels of debt. I do like that their cash is getting larger though. If we can see more of that, maybe this thing can actually go somewhere. We just have to see revenue increasing. We have to see them not losing money and starting to increase their cash position, even if it's through share dilution. I will go ahead and add, I don't know, I can't really do a trend-based extension. Let's just assume we have the bottom and do, because I can't remember if this does anybody know if this is a SPAC? I don't remember if this is a SPAC. Let me put this up real quick and I'll save it. So again, it's just kind of, it looks like shit here. And the chart, I've got to say, the financials are actually starting to look a little better than the chart, but I haven't dug through them in depth. So I don't know if like it's just fun accounting. I mean, they obviously diluted shares. They are down almost 97%. This might be something just for like a small amount of capital on some calls or something. Might be interesting. I don't know. Was the one Jeff Lutz posted about. Oh, okay, cool. I've still got to look at that. I'll try and get caught up with his post and see if I can understand what his viewpoint is, because I have not looked at it. I'll make a note here real quick. All right, let me get to the top. So, okay, KTOS. So that's it for Yosi. I don't even know how I would say that. That's it for them for now. Oh, here, I gotta actually make a copy. I'm gonna try your shortcut here one of these days, I promise. KTOS. All right, let's pull it up. This is Kratos Defense. Cool. Don't know that I've really paid much attention to this one. They've done all right on earnings recently. I immediately want to know. So 2.67 billion. Looks like they're outperforming on earnings recently. I want a better beat into their financials. So we're gonna go over here. Because if I'm just looking at a chart, it only tells me so much. I really got to see how things are going. Let's see what we got. These guys have been around a while. So we had a little dip in revenue that back in the 16, 17 range in years. But nice trend up here since 2018. Aerospace and defense, no short interest. Huh, these guys are in robotics too, huh? I don't see the world getting any safer. Their expenses are going up. Their debt is still high. They're diluting shares. I don't love all of that. Gosh, it really looked like they were making progress here on net income. I wish that would have maintained instead of dipping back down to the red again, because this started to look really good in 2021. Let's look at quarterly again, though. So it's starting to improve again. And it looks like this might have been a one-time anyway in Q4 2020. It doesn't look like anything real. So I got to say, this is actually looking pretty nice as far as like a recovery and starting to become profitable. I don't know much more about the company, but I don't like this though. Like, look at all these quarters where their cash got really low and their debt is still high and they're having to dilute more in the last quarter. I don't love that. But it does feel yeah, it depends on what you know about this company fundamentally. If you know that they're doing a really good job, then, I mean, operating expenses are dropping and revenue is still increasing. If they could just get a little better at turning a profit, this might be a decent one. Let's see though how much so they're valued at 2.67 billion and they're still not really that profitable. So there's probably a decent amount of this is just speculation on them doing well in the future. They got crushed in 2020. What do these guys sell that would cause the pandemic to drop their stock price? Was there a lessened chance of war? I guess I don't know what the security solutions are. I got to learn more about this company. Let me do this. I'll draw a fib-based retracement. So at least we have that. And then this will be one I have to do some homework on to better understand, at least a cursory knowledge of it. All right, so again, way down. This dropped right out of the gate, and this is down a lot. This company, holy crap. They were a big company in the 2000s, but maybe they were just a dot-comer or something because they got destroyed. And then it's just never, it's only since 2015-16 where they've started to do anything well. Interesting. All right, next. Let's see what else we got here. Thoughts on small caps, IWM. I still think small caps do well. They aren't good right now. I posted that, or I showed earlier too, the indices for the Russell 2000. They still could be establishing support over the first fib, so they're good. It's just not, it's just waiting to fire off. They look like they were going to, but then the big caps and semis came back. But again, I'm not mad about that. I love the fact that what you don't want to see is the semis failing and small caps dropping. You want to see a sector outperforming. I don't even care what it is. Well, kind of. But it's definitely not bad for it to be in the chip sector and in large caps. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, this one has run so much. I don't even know what I said last time in regard to it. It's obviously done really well. I don't like this gap on the daily. I feel like we could come back and revisit that at some point. But it's up 437%. There isn't much I can say here. its next step, it's above all support on the volume here, all of it, right? There's really nothing above us. So we're in let's see where we can go zone, right? And what it wants to test next is up here. It's the $25 range. I don't know if it'll get there. And I remember the company fundamentals on this one were pretty good. You got to realize the RSI got to its highest level since 2021. So it went pretty high. It could take a breather here, or maybe it just keeps grinding. It all depends on risk. But the fundamentals are great. The company, I won't pull up its financials, but they look great. Just for the nature of time, because I don't want to do that every time. All right. Thoughts on the Reddit IPO coming up? I think Reddit is shit. I like X, so I wouldn't invest in it. Here's the thing I love about X versus Reddit, right? And I hated Facebook too. I came from Facebook's groups where I didn't grow hardly at all, and where they kept blocking me because I was posting negative shit about China, and so these bots kept initiating requests saying that I was like a terrorist or something, and they kept blocking me on my own page. And Reddit is like that, right? Reddit is a shitty site. Some of you might like it, but I think it's fucking trash. And here's why. The masses can censor anyone with an up and down vote. If they don't like what you have to say, whether you're right about it or wrong, they can just put that down arrow a billion times and be like, fuck that guy. He's never getting to talk again. So I don't like that. I don't like a site that like promotes censorship and pack mentality. I would much rather prefer something like X where everybody has a voice. And if they want to contribute a couple of dollars to help the company and the platform that's the freest, I believe, in the world prosper, then they can get a little stronger of a reach. But they have to be like a decent human being. They can't just be horrible. Because if they're horrible, it will lower their reach. But it will let them still have their fucking voice. That's the way the world should be. People should be able to be crazy and say things that aren't appropriate. And maybe they can get in trouble at a time. But at least in America, our country's built off of freedom of speech. So I don't like censorship platforms. For that one reason, I'm out. There you go. I just did my, what is that show called? I'll never watch it. Anyway, all right. So moving on from the Reddit IPO. After another rant. All right, 5-star shine. Just wanted to say I appreciate you and I subscribed recently. No request. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude. QCOM. I really appreciate everybody who helps out and everybody that comes back daily or watches the videos. It's huge for me. God, and I didn't even use the shortcut. I will, I'm going to practice that. I will use it, I promise. Couldn't this time anyway. I had to make a copy. I was headed down the wrong path, but. Trimming or holding? Thank you. Appreciate. Okay, so let's see. We're going to trim, we're going to hold. With me knowing nothing about this company, or at least very little. Oh, Qualcomm, chips too. I think I looked this one up the other day. They give a dividend. That's cool. Can't hate that. Let's look at their actual finances, though. QCOM. All right. Oh, maybe try the shortcut here in a little bit. Net income went up. Cool. That's a lot of money. Let's see here. Yeah, gosh, wow. These guys are doing all right. I like the fact that their cash position's growing. Yeah, their expenses are going down. What are their estimates? Kind of flat. I don't love flat to down for like EPS and revenue. I don't know if because the market eventually, everybody's been into chips hugely. I do like this though. I like this. I like the operating expenses going down while you're still arguably trending higher on revenue. But I don't know, man. What is this? $193 billion company just pulled in $2.7 billion in net, but was trending down to like the 1.5 range. It's not too rich, really. I don't know. Let's draw something on this. You get a dividend too. That's kind of cool. Let's draw a trend-based fib extension on this one. I mean, the PE is 25. It's not like this thing's crazy. Especially when you compare it to some of these others. But I also don't know their business well. I know semiconductors a little bit. Cursory level knowledge. Not like brilliant level knowledge. So I don't want to pretend that I'm something I'm not. I have not spent enough time on the sector, which is why I don't own any, even though I can see people making money off of it daily. Because I just don't know when the music's going to stop, and I don't chase. That's how I made 700% last year. It wasn't chasing, I can tell you that. All right, so yeah, this thing, I think I said this before. I might have looked at this before. I think it wants to go to the .5. If we get up to 185, I would maybe trim if you're starting to see like any signs of weakness in chips. Then maybe you start trimming. But I think we still want to go to that, or maybe even like this volume peak here at 184, probably 184. Maybe like right underneath that, start trimming. Not financial advice, of course. Wolf. Thanks for all the awesome. Oh, you guys are cool today. Thank you guys. All right. So let's see here. Wolf, wolf, wolf. So wolf, we'll pull that up in a second. I think the thing that's kept this down is they got a lot of new equipment. They got a lot of new equipment. Their hash rate's going to be good. And we'll look at some of that right now. I think the thing that's crushed them is they don't hold Bitcoin. It's like just fucking stupid to be a Bitcoin miner and not hold Bitcoin in a bear market. Let's see, how down are we? We're still down over 90. Jesus, what date was this? How far back am I going? 2021. Woof. Where did this company shit the bed since 2021? Anyway, all right, let's pull up Wolf. I know some people own this. When you look at it at a glance, it looks good, right? The Bitcoin produced was growing, little down a little bit, but it was growing. The revenue looks really good. Just glancing at this, that looks great. But then it's like, okay, mining hash rate stopped from Q2 to Q3, hasn't went up anymore. But their problem, total cost per Bitcoin mine looks great, looks beautiful. Like that looks great. But look at this, they're still losing money. Now this might change. Well, I would say this would have changed in Q4 for them. I don't even think they haven't had earnings yet, have they? Coming up 28th. All right, 16 days. It'll be interesting to see what their earnings are. They got a $424 million market cap. And I might pull up something here in a second too. Hopefully Sebastian's cool with it. It's some of his work. Sebastian Ski, he's a great guy on YouTube. But look at this. So they got a decent amount of debt. It's getting lower, but so is their cash position. I don't love that. Let's see what their estimates are. So estimated revenue looks nice, and it looks like they're guiding towards Q4 being negative still. All these other miners that I'm invested in were pretty awesome in Q4. I don't even know. Bitfarms might have been okay. Let me just check real quick. They might have been profitable. Maybe they were still in the red from like a one time. No, they were still in the red from a one time too. But again, they have this blessing of actually owning Bitcoin. They don't own a ton, but they own Bitcoin and it's going up in dollar amount. And so that helped cushion a lot of blow for them. But let's see what's the hash rate difference. These guys are at what? 6.5. What was Wolf at? But still, these guys at 32 million worth of Bitcoin, it's probably worth 45 million now for Bitfarms. So they got like an extra $13 million in just that going up. So it looks like their energized hash rate, these guys have like, it looks like Bitfarms is like 1x a hash ahead of them, and they're aggressively expanding. But let's take a look at something else here real quick. This is a chart that I was talking about. This is from my boy Sebastian Ski. He does a lot of work on miners. You should check him out on YouTube. But let's just look here. So this is an example of a company you never want to be like, Argo. Look at this. Their Bitcoin hodl is completely gone now. The amount of Bitcoin they're mining is going away. Their hash rate hasn't changed at all since September. This is like this is a run and hide company. We won't look at all these. Let me just get down. Bitfarms. Okay. So this is, again, one of the things I like about these guys. They increased their hodl position. Wish they still were. I wish they would have diluted and not sold Bitcoin all throughout this. They should have just been They should have been stacking more the whole time. I believe in a large stack of Bitcoin when you're in the bear market and then ramping up, and then you start selling that shit like a year from now, slowly and then aggressively if you think we've topped. But anyway, so that's Bitfarms. Let me see. So they're expanding. Bitfarms is going to expand to 21 exahash. Let's see. Cypher's 17 almost. CleanSpark is 32. Core Scientific is 21. So they're going to be smaller. They were the big guys, then they went bankrupt. But we're looking for Wolf. So let me get way down here. Marathon is going to be 31. So theoretically, CleanSpark is going to have a larger hash rate than Marathon. That's pretty fascinating. But Marathon has indicated they might go larger too. So we'll see. Riot's going for 40 exahashes. They're going big. They need to spin that stuff up fairly soon, though. Wolf, here we are. So they're only going to 8.4 exahash. So these guys are going to be tiny. And they have no hodl. Again, they're picking up on the mining front and stuff, but they're not going to get much larger than they are today. And they'll see some revenue growth and increases because, again, they'll see that because their hash rate is a little bit higher, and the price of Bitcoin will go up. And so that's probably a lot of what they have in their estimate is just the price of Bitcoin going up. But that's not going to make them super profitable, and they have no expansion plans. And I hate that. I hate no expansion plans. That's not something, which is probably why the price sucks. Because everybody's like, they want to get into the stuff that's exciting, that's going to be growing. Oh, dot. I love it. All right, man. I'm going to use it. I promise. Let's go to Arbitrum. Is that what we're looking for? Oh, wait. I don't have that one, though. So we can't use the dot. Damn it. All right. Arbitrum. Let's look at it here. I don't think Arb has really done anything. Or Argo? Is that what you're talking about? No, Arbitrum. Okay. Let's go to crypto. This maybe? I don't know. What is the oldest exchange? I can't do much with this. Can you tell me, whoever did the ARB request, can you tell me what exchange Arbitrum was on before, like Coinbase and maybe even Binance? I need to find like the oldest one so that I have more price data. Let me go back. I'll see if Binance. It's just hard to know what pairing is the oldest pairing. And I don't want to do a Bitcoin one. Tether, maybe. Oh, this might be all right. How far back is this going? No, it's just not. If you could let me know what the oldest exchange is, just to make sure, like, is Binance the one I should be looking at? I just need to know what to draw my chart off of. So I'm going to skip that for now. Moving on. How do miners' business models sustain with diminishing supply? Because they make a bunch of money off of fees. And then they make money off the fees that they get paid for providing, the calculations for the network. And they get block rewards too. So they get both of those things, and that's how they survive. And scarcity is great for them because it makes the price go up. And when the price goes up, the big thing that they have to worry about is strong competition. And there's been a lot of competition and expansion. But like some of the smaller guys now, we're going to see the list of miners, I think, consolidate. We went from just a couple, last cycle at the beginning of it, like Riot and Mara, and then CleanSpark coming in. Like there were just a couple bigger miners to just a shit ton of miners. And now I think we're going to consolidate down to a bunch less again. But yeah, they can make plenty of money, man. Trust me. And then they're a multiplier of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's making money, they're making money. Thanks to all that you do for. Oh, wait, no thanks. Okay. Thanks. Awesome work. Thank you. Love your work. Thank you. Thoughts on VFS, South Korean electric car company. Oh, is it that one? I remember not thinking very highly of this one because it was kind of getting pumped into the markets. Oh, let me do my dot. Oh, I don't have this one though. I don't think I have it. Make a copy. So I know these guys are big in South Korea. I don't know what their international expansion plans look like. We'll check out their finances in a second. But I know they had a massive drop during their debut, and I don't remember if that was like a SPAC. FinFast. Yeah, look at that shit. So look at the pump on this thing. Look at the pump on this thing, and then it just got dumped into oblivion. So just from down here in August of 2023, I remember this and telling people to stay the fuck out as it was skyrocketing to the moon. I'm like, get away from this. You don't want it. This is what parabola can do for you if what you have isn't real or based on reality. And it was not based in reality off of $95. So this thing went down about 95%, a little bit less, maybe 93. So you got 900% returns up, and you got 94 down, 94, 95. So it looks like it wants to go lower, dude. I know you probably don't want to hear that if you own it. Is this a short request? What is this one? Let me go back. Thought South Korean electric company. Dan Ives. Dan Ives. Did Dan Ives have good things to say about this company? What is it called? VinFast. VinFast. What is their actual? I wonder if this is loaded in here. VFS. VinFast Auto. Oh, I don't even think he has it on here. Let me see. I'll try and pull up the financials over here in TradingView. I might try my friend Tom's tool too for some of this stuff, like if it's not under other things. But I gotta have my visuals, so hopefully he's got some of that in there too. I still gotta play with it. I told him I'd sign in. All right, so let me see. Let's go to the statements. Let's go. Can we do quarterly? We're on quarterly. So they started making cash from finance. Okay, so they're just burning money. They're just burning money. There isn't much to see here, man. This company doesn't seem to make any money. What did they have here on their earnings? They reported 437 in revenue. EPS was negative. So I mean, they're just losing money. What is their debt? Let me see what their debt is. Income statement, balance sheet. This is on the right-hand side. Total liabilities 7.86 billion. Assets 5.18 billion. It looks like the company's going bankrupt. There you go. That's what they're going to do. Especially as an electric car company. They're going to go bankrupt. Well, most 90% of them will. All right, let me see here. Okay, is this the start to look at a double top? No, it's not a double top. MicroStrategy could go much higher. Again, there's that short squeeze, so they could scream higher. Remember, can you go over Goog? Sure. All right. Okay, here we are. So Google's above peak volumes here on the local time frame. That's probably positive. They got beat down pretty good. I mean, for Google, they went to 120, 155 to 132. That's a decent chunk. I don't know what Google has to offer anymore. What are their finance? I mean, obviously they're a cash cow, right? Like they make tons of fucking money. I just don't know what they have to offer otherwise. I just have a feeling their search engine is just going to be destroyed. I think it's just going to be destroyed. This is Alphabet, parent company. I don't even know what their incorporation. How does that work anymore? All right, we'll just stick with this. 1.7 trillion. Acquisition costs. There's a lot more to read here. Net income still continuing to grow. $20 billion. Yeah, that helps. That's just a lot of money. So they're just buying back shares. These guys aren't doing a dividend yet, are they? No. Okay, good. I worry about these guys. Again, they're making so much money right now, it doesn't really matter as a company. But I worry about their future. It looks like YouTube is still doing good. That's cool to know. I mean, that's not surprising. X doesn't really have competition towards YouTube yet. But boy, if they start to, I just look at Google this way. Their search sucks now in comparison to like ChatGPT and even like Grok. I use Grok more than I use Google search. I don't use Google search much anymore, and I think there's going to be more and more people that won't do that. They're using like Chat GPT on their cell phones. Kids nowadays, like, I don't know. I just don't think that I don't. And then they've got all the woke narrative thing isn't going to help them. And putting a bunch of African people as George Washington, like, God, what a stupid fucking idea that was. You don't rewrite history and piss off one entire demographic of your population. It's just dumb. So I don't have a lot of love for the Goog, man. I think it looks like a double top to me. It really does. And fundamentally, I feel like that's what's happening too. Even though they have so much money, and so maybe it's not, but I just don't think it's going anywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's really going high at all. To exit key position soon and buy Tesla. I would actually do that. I mean, if we get a bounce back up here towards like the 143 or something before when we hit this next fib, I don't know, man. Maybe that's your time. Tesla's such a better long-term hold in my opinion. All right. Mikhail. Oh, that was me responding. Snow. Yeah, I can snow. We'll snow. Oh, I didn't use it. Sorry. Dot. There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. But I got there. Okay. All right. Snow. I think I already had this one. Snowflake. Okay. Oof. That's a hell of a drop. This just does not. As a chart pattern, this looks like a bear flag. Just a really long one. It's not what you want to see. Not what you want to see. But it's already deep in the RSI, at least on the daily. But the weekly shows that it could still drop further. This looks like it wants to go down to like 114. That's if you own it, that's probably not what you want to hear. But let's just look. I don't remember. I think this one, the financials weren't that great. Yeah, see, look at the net income, guys. Like, come on. They got a lot of cash, which helps. But it looks like they're building cash from dilution. Their operating expenses are uncontrollably high. And I don't like that. I like growth. I like the revenue growth. That's a beautiful thing to see. And they're riding the line. They could ride the line for a while, but I don't think they'll be rewarded until they change it. Now, I love this. If this is real, if you know something about this company and they're getting ready to go positive for their EPS and net income, then maybe this is the bet. Because we want to see this number get to a level where it looks like they're going to go positive. That's when the company's really going to be rewarded. Not until. So, I don't think. Now, that said, this does look like a bear flag, but I'm going to quote myself on something else before I just overlook it. It is staying nicely above key volume here. So, if it can find support and get back up to like 190 something and grind for a little while, then this could probably turn into something that's bullish. So again, I like the fact that they're estimating their EPS and their revenues are continuing to guide higher. That looks good. If they can start to get their net income more positive, I'm happy. All right, please put stock request. Okay, that was me. Unless okay, bonjour, Wild Frenchie. I haven't been to Paris in a while, but I love Paris. It is a beautiful place. Lots of fun. I love Germany too. I went to Munich for Oktoberfest, and that was gorgeous, man. So cool. Nope, that's not right. I overwrote that. Let me fix that. All right, so dot. What are we on to? Indio. I already did ETH for whoever asked that. Oh, I don't have it. See, I'm still gonna be making copies because I got a bunch of these I don't have. All right, but yeah, I'd love to go back to Europe sometime soon. It's nice to get a break. All right, Indio. Novo Nordisk. I don't know this one. Jesus Christ. I don't even know what you want from me. Obviously hold it. Or something. What is this? Who is this? Health and pharmaceuticals. Jesus, dude. Does this chart ever end or does it just keep doing that? It just keeps doing that. That's all it actually knows how to do. It's an almost perfect, like, angle. That's nuts. It's like a perfect 45 or whatever. Like, that's crazy. Should I draw something here? I don't even think I can draw. I got nothing for you, bro. It just keeps going up. This is just stupid. I'm curious about it, though. NDO. There we go. Yeah, I guess this all looks about right. Be nice if they had less debt. Operating expenses are trending higher. But what are the estimates on this? Still pretty decent. I would like their expenses to go down, but boy, this thing is just so steady. 603 billion. How much are they netting? 3. Eh, I don't know. I don't know what pharmaceutical usually is at. P is probably not crazy. Price sales. This doesn't look crazy. Short interest is non-existent. Just looks like a really well-run company for a biotech, but it's also huge. And I don't know what their products are. I got nothing for you, man. This is just like a rocket ship to the moon. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, obviously, it looks like we're going parabolic, especially recently here. I don't know how much higher it can go because if you look here on the monthly time frame, we're near the 90s. I don't know. If I was in this, do you sell it though? Because it just doesn't. How long is this? This is a year. Yeah, no, it can spend years trading flat. So maybe I probably would start to get out of it because again, that monthly RSI screams doom. This thing has run like a beast. Maybe get out of it a little bit and start going to other stuff, not financial advice. Oh no, here. What else we got? NBO, Snow. We already did QRVO. Do I have that one? Let me hit the dot. QRVO. Nope. Okay. Make a copy. I'm gonna get better at the dot, man. I promise. Thank you for trying to teach me something. QRVO. QRVO. Nope, not a Q. All right. What is this one? Oh, starting to jump. What are you? You're 11 billion. Electric semiconductors. You guys are just eating that shit up. You guys love your little semis, don't you? No, there's probably a lot of semis riding this train. Looks like one of them to me. So if we look at the yearly on here, we're actually seeing a decrease in revenue. We're seeing their net income collapse. Their debt has been expanding. Their shares were dropping. They were probably doing lots of buybacks. They do have a couple of more positive looking quarters ahead of them, so that's good. What's that market? Yeah, 11.6 billion. They were making 319. So this was probably more appropriately priced in like 2021 than it is now, in my opinion. They got some stuff to work out. It just doesn't look. It doesn't look like anything that should scream higher to me. But that said, we're in chip world, so let's do this and actually draw some lines. Let's do from the pandemic. I think that's kind of where I like to start. The best local low, and then I gotta change the depth of this. I think I'm doing it too big and it's not giving me my guide. All right, let's do that. So I do like the fact that we're above the .382 and testing up. Maybe we test up to right up here in the next fib at 130. So if I was long this, I would wait until at least then before I looked at exiting. A lot of the times what you want to do, this green up here, the .618 golden retracement zone, if there's a place that this is going to fail, it's probably more likely going to be there. And again, I don't see anything special about this company that indicates that it should be valued at a lot of money. Feels like the slow bleed that it had was pretty right. I also am not speaking at it from a fundamental level, so maybe it's better than that. I don't know. SoFi. I think I already went over SoFi. I'll just look at the chart again real quick, though. Real quick. So I just said that we're underneath peak volumes, which kind of sucks. We want to get above that. We want to get about to the 765 range. We want to get up there again as soon as possible. It is nice, though, that we found on this downward trend line, we found support. That's it for that one. Moving on. All right. What else we got? Wolf, I already did. Hershey's, HSY. Oh, I thought I had that one. Let me go back. Maybe. All right. HSY. I'll make sure to save it. Maybe I did a different one. I don't know. But I love the little Hershey's. That's really cool. I love that. All right, these guys got crushed too. Ooh, under the 200 for a while. looks like it could kind of be a bear flag, but it made a really strong attempt up here. So it's less bear flaggy with the fact that it tried to fight up so hard. What's the company's financials look like? I don't remember. I feel like I've looked at this one before, but I don't remember what they were. Pretty flat revenue. They were getting rid of shares, then they kind of went back up again. Operating expenses are kind of trending up over time. Net income's pretty consistent, 400 million or something. What does estimates look like? Looks like they're continuing to see a little bit of growth. Nothing crazy, just kind of steady. What is, so we're saying 400 million, is that right, in revenue? Yeah, something like that. $40 billion company. Seems pretty fair. I don't see anything crazy interesting here. It is interesting that it went all the way up to this level. Just by looking at it, the chart, just volume profile alone, I feel like we have this pretty large cliff. If we can't get under this and we keep grinding along this, and any of their financials improve, I would think that we would try and go higher into the 200s again, like at least up here towards the, the 50 and the 100 moving average, because it does seem like it's kind of finding support at the 200 right now. Because again, this wick kind of invalidates the bear flag. The bear flag should be like this. It shouldn't be this high. And then it's finding volume level support. So I would expect, again, like maybe get up to the 220s or something. That's my guess, just at a quick look. All right, what else we got? Wolf, we already went over. Go Microstrategy from 1450 today. Yeah, it's gonna, the short squeeze is gonna kill some people, man. There's just not enough time for these guys to cover. I said this before. I think it's like a GameStop moment in Microstrategy. So my friend, again, Caleb, people were shitting on him because he exited out of miners and got into that. He might end up laughing to the bank on that one. So don't give him too hard of a time. I just don't recommend people do it because, again, it's double the valuation of their underlying Bitcoin. If you're doing that, it should be a quick trade. And then if we start to get really overbought, get the fuck out. Because, like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't look... You know what? Did I even pull up? Let me go back to MicroStrategy. I think I pulled it up for a little bit, but I want to do a closer examination. Just to this beast. This beast. And after hours, we're down. I don't think that's done. I think we're going to continue to go higher. Let's look at the weekly. So the weekly RSI, this is what I wanted to point you to. So again, when we saw that last peak, we're getting near those levels, guys. 95, 96. I think we could actually surpass that. But I would not want to be in MSTR like as my big multiplier play past like the 95, 96 zone. I wouldn't. I might even trim. I might even start trimming tomorrow. If MSTR does like a double-digit 10% move tomorrow and miners continue to shit, I'm going to start selling some of my MSTR. Like, no joke. It's a lower multiplier, and if it's going in the opposite direction, I believe in the money printer aspect of MicroStrategy. I don't believe in the fact that it's twice the valuation of their underlying Bitcoin holdings when you subtract debts and add up other assets like cash. I don't like that part. So I'm probably going to use MicroStrategy since I've got, a lot, like 250 to 300,000. I'm going to use it as a source of funds. And if my favorite things start dropping and this thing's up 10%, I'm going to use that short squeeze to my benefit because, again, we are getting overextended. And I'm actually going to add an alert here so that I can notify people when we get near that 95 range right before our previous peak because people need to know when that shit's happening. I might even jump on a live feed if we get near that level because I want to start warning people. Could you please explain in further detail? Okay, yeah, nope, I already did that earlier. You can choose another stock. I already requested Snowflake. Okay, cool. Facts, the explanation is enough. Okay, haha. Hey, Jesse. Pocahontas. Okay, now I'm getting caught up with the other stuff. Whoa, Justin. That's a lot of... Dustin, I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you a TSVX because I don't know if you're a whale. If you are a whale, you need to put down that you're a whale so that I know that, and it needs to be true because I don't have a lot of whales, so it's pretty easy to verify. But I will pull up TSVX because, or XV, because we're trying to be fair to everybody's time here and not give one person too many opportunities, unless they are a whale, in which case I apologize. Make sure you add that next time. And the only thing is, so the starter pack's $3 a month. You get one stock pick. The alpha, $9.99. You get two, and then the whale, you get three. And then also, I'm going to be doing, for anybody who's a member, I'm going to be posting stuff to you guys probably sooner for anything stock pick related. If it's like really time sensitive, like a trade type thing, and I'm going to make you guys aware before I push it out to the broader masses, because I just think it's fair to support people who support the channel. And again, nothing's financial advice. I'm not trying to shill shit. That's not my goal. I just want to be able to benefit the people that help us grow. Is that right? TXXV NDA OTC. Am I reading this right? TSO, new lows, new highs. What is this? Is it a stock too? No. Is it an index? I don't know what this is. Is this just... I might need some help. I am not Canadian. I might need some help understanding what TSVX is. Is NDA the actual stock? Is that like the index? Let me try and pull that up. Maybe that's what you're trying to do. Neptune Digital Assets Group, maybe? That's probably what you're trying to do. You gave me the indice. I just don't know it. Okay. I think I got it. So this is an OTC trade. Cool. Let me pull it up here and look at it, Dustin. Cool. All right. So 1 second. I was just looking at stuff. So we're finding support on the 200, but it doesn't look really exciting on the chart. I'm going to pull it up and see if I can find it over here, because I want to see what the financials are, because the chart is a little confusing. What was that again? NDA. Like an NDA. What was the name? Neptune Digital. I might have to do this in TradingView. Yeah, okay. I probably do. Just because it's Canadian based and I don't think he has international on there. All right, so let me look over here. Go to more financials. Actually, I can just stick with this little corner too, even though it's kind of harder to see. All right, so we're looking at the income statement. It looks like they've started to become profitable. I dig that. I don't know how. They have less revenue than their net income, so I don't know if that's like a one-time. I don't know much about this company. What do you have? Can you tell us anything about it? Exchange ticker. I don't really know. I mean, they haven't made any money, or is that their valuation? Let me go back here. Never used this one, so I can't see shit. All right, revenue. Yearly revenues in decline. Yeah, it doesn't. This company doesn't look like it's growing at all. Just looks like it's going more negative. Let's look at annual. Yeah, I mean, this is so weird. It's just choppy as fuck. So I don't know if I have much to say about this one. Neptune Digital Assets. Yeah, I don't really know where it's going to go. I mean, obviously it had a bounce. My inclination is that we break down under this 200. With these all curling up and being so tight, I would be afraid of seeing this thing drop. And where it lands, I don't know. Probably first step is probably like 20 cents. I would say it could drop to 20 cents. And that would maybe be a buy zone, but that's only if you know the fundamentals are better. Leor, welcome to the pack, my friend. Thanks for giving your view on Wolf, Coin, QRVO, please. I did that one already. Spot, did I miss some of these? Or am I just getting down to these? Fuck, this is what I get for moving. Which ones? Where did I leave off? Where did I leave off? Who's up next? You guys know who's up next? Careful, you're still on Google. Telecomputing is always trying to help me. All right, I might have missed a few people here. Let me see. Hey, Jess, is it time to go all in to Tesla? I don't know. It depends a lot on rates. And there's still risk with Tesla. I have a 2.5-year plan with options. and I'm making, I got like $270,000 in them. But that gives me, well, I guess it's 2.3 years to do okay, right? So that's a lot of time. We could still drop if things get weird between us and China, like blockades or some crazy shit. And things do, I mean, there's more aggression growing in the South China Sea, not less. And I don't think this year is going to help that. So I don't know. There could be some headwinds ahead, but I still have a lot of faith in that. If there aren't, Tesla's going to do really great. It's 8% of my portfolio with this asymmetric bet, and the opportunity could give me anywhere from $2.5 to $14 million. With 2.5 to 6 is probably more reasonable. All right, let me see here. Coin doing $1 billion convertible senior notes due 2030. All right, let me see here. I need to go back up. I think I missed some people. Yeah, I know I did. Okay, let me go back up. Jesus Christ. There's a lot. Microstrategy. All right, there's that one. Crust. Wow, there's a lot more of you guys nowadays. I'm gonna have to like do this on the weekend too, just to make sure that I'm getting to everybody. Because there's a lot more than there used to be. First world problems. All right, let's look here. Crust. Is crust Kura Sushi? Is that crust? Huh, interesting. It looks like it's trying to go higher. All right, let me see. What are they at? They're at a market cap of $1 billion. See if they're over here on this one. We got to get him pulling up. Yeah, Kura Sushi. Oh, I love sushi. You guys make me fucking hungry. You can't give me food places when I'm an hour and 20 minutes into this, guys. It's not fair. Revenue looks great. Let's look at what their guidance is, though. Guidance is continuing to grow. Would be nice if the EPS got a little bit better and net income got better. It's a $1.1 billion company, but they're it looks like they're focused on growth. I'd like to see debt come down to operating expenses. It doesn't seem like they can expand very easily without incurring additional expense. They've never been profitable, like really profitable, so you don't really have a PE ratio to work off of, price flow. Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be nice if these guys made money. It's hard to gauge much more than that. If anything, you've got a divergence here, right? If you look down here, the tops that we're seeing on the RSI are trying to drive this down, and yet the price has been going up. So I would be a little wary that this might want to go a different direction. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good one to be in. Get back. I'm losing my track of all this stuff. Ugh. All right. Let's see. What was the next one? Cross Abgo. I think I've done that before. So let me see. No, I haven't. All right. Make a copy. Boo, boo, boo. I'm probably not going to get all to these today. If you guys are trying to find, my volume is low. I thought it was pretty good. I was watching some of my videos and it's pretty loud. Could be the yelling though. All right, so EBGO, Broadcom. Had a heck of a run since, let's see, when's 2020? Over here. Wow, that's a heck of a run. Let me do a fib-based trend extension. Save this chart real quick. So again, previous major drop, up to the new high, down to the next local low. This thing's looking long in the tooth. You got divergence to the downside again on the tops here, but it's ran a lot. It's a $596 billion company. That's a big number. But it's had a heck of a run. It's had a heck of a run. And why? Because it's a semiconductor. It's got the word semi in its name. So if you got the word semi in your name, you can make all kinds of money, even when you dilute the shit out of your company and increase your debt. What is this? What are these numbers? They're so. I'd have to look at the last quarter to know more about this, but the net income dropped significantly, debt increased, shares outstanding increased, and operating expenses exploded. estimates have us getting back to normal. So whatever this clusterfuck was, they think it's getting better. So that's good. Short interest is incredibly low, and it's a semiconductor. P ratio is almost 48. That seems like it could be rich. That's a heck of a run, I gotta say, from even just to October 2022, 420 to 1290. These semiconductors are going to start blowing up eventually, like blowing up in people's faces. They'll exit the trade. They'll move to other stuff because they're greedy. The same greed that drove all of them into this will drive them into the next thing they're trying to make money off of. That's how these cycles work when you have massive global liquidity. And people are trying to figure out where to put all the money they printed. ARK. Hey, there you go. One I can actually pull. All right, so again, it hit the fib. It retraced a little bit. It looks better than ARKG. I'll just say that. It looks better than ARKG. And I don't think any of their... I don't think, like, financials accumulate in here. That would be too easy. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, so I would like to see us get above the .382. Like around this 54 range and turn it into support. If we can do that, I think it's just a matter of quarters before we test up to 71, where the 200 moving average is. Whether we break above that, I don't know, but like a magnet, it wants to go back towards it to test it. And then you have the golden retracement zone right above it. So if we got up to the golden retracement zone, or even here, I would probably, unless things are looking brilliant in the economy, you always have to caveat things. Unless the world is just looking great and we're risk on as fuck and there's a good reason for it, you might want to start lightening the load up there, especially if you have options. All right, PDD. Get to PDD. And if you guys want, if I don't get to people's, come in earlier. And I usually start the streams up much earlier, like the beginning of the day, and then I'll post it on X. So come in earlier and say, hey, I got this one, and put the symbol, and if you're a whale, put the 3 down. But come in earlier. That way, if I miss you one day, you have an opportunity for me to catch you the next, okay? Because I don't want to leave a bunch of people behind and never get to their stuff, especially if they're a member and one that's paying a decent amount to get support or to get work from me. Like I want to benefit you guys. This looks interesting. It's already run a lot. 148 billion, but the revenue is increasing dramatically. Let's just pull them up over here. See what we got. And thank you for everybody else that joined in this stream too as members. I really appreciate all you guys. Like I said, Pin Duo. That's a hell of a name. 94% revenue growth year over year. I like this accelerating revenue growth. Share dilution is still happening, but it slowed down a little bit last quarter. Net income's going up though. 2 billion. Don't hate that number for 157. Only a PE of 26. Company is in internet retail, Shanghai, Canada. Or Shanghai, China. CEO, Chinese stock. Meh. Is this in China? Because these are not my favorite at all. Okay, now so I don't like the fact EPS looks like it's dropping. Revenues could be flattening out. I don't know. It still looks growth. But if this is China, I don't know what do they do? Just retail? Is it international retail? I'll have to go back and look through the notes. So you got me excited. But if this is China, I'm less excited. Especially if it's got a massive amount of retail in it. Way less excited. But what is this trading on? Yeah, I'll have to look into this one more to understand it. Are they mostly in the international markets? That kind of stuff. Let me see here. Does anybody answer? China, Canada, same. Yeah, China, Canada, same. Yeah, that's pretty true. To some degree, that is true. All right, let me see. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss stock MVP. Oh, yeah. What was your impression? I haven't used stock MVP yet. As soon as I do, I will let you know. I haven't used it yet. I meant to. I've just been doing family stuff. It was really beautiful here, and I live in a place where it's cold all winter. So I've been spending time with my kid and just doing other stuff. Already did Palantir. Remember to include dollars at the start of any ticker symbol. Yes, thank you for saying that. Thank you guys for helping manage chat, man. I really appreciate it. I did bit. Let me go back up. Gosh, I missed. There's so many of you guys in here now. It's crazy. I did in phase already. Where did I leave off? Arc I just did. PDD I did. Chewy, I can do Chewy. Well, no, I'm gonna limit to this one here. So if I missed you, we can talk that. TSLL is probably not a bad play. And again, if I miss some of you guys, I feel bad. If I miss some of you, let's just get in chat early when I fire up the stream and put your stuff in there so that you're at the top of the list. That way I don't do it 2 days in a row, okay? I think that's probably the fairest way to do it. So that way people that actually like really want it, they'll remember that and do it. Now here's the thing I don't like. TSLL is interesting, but these plays, they can eat away kind of like an option. So just realize what you're getting into. This is a 1.5x multiplier to the upside. Probably not a bad bet. If you don't want to get into options, this is kind of like a baby option. And if you think we've bottomed on Tesla, then this is probably going to be a pretty good deal. And I do think Tesla will have asymmetric returns in the future. I just don't know if they're in the next couple of months or if they're in the next year or hopefully within 2 years. But I think FSD and all their cheaper version vehicle and just their energy business and just all the stuff is going to start building up and making them just tons of money, and they're going to see massive growth. But just remember that this is like the version of a baby option. That's how you get that 1.5x. Anytime you have a multiplier on that, there's going to be some like theta type decay that happens over time. But otherwise, it's pretty. It could be a decent bet. It's a good like simple way of not having to do an option. That's my view. And I am bullish. I am very bullish. All right, so I'm gonna go to DAR. All right. Make copy DAR. And so I might do this on the weekend, guys. I think I really need to. I'll probably do some of these requests over the weekend too for the people that, in case I miss you during the week, we can start pulling you up over the weekend and looking at your stuff too. That way, hopefully it's a little more fair. Ooh, I don't love this one. This thing fell off a cliff. And it looks like it's getting ready to fall off another cliff. It's right on the edge of it. Had a pretty large increase from March 2020 though. $10 up to like 90 or something, 900%, whatever. But again, I would be worried. There's this massive gap. Massive gap here. Let me draw this. I'm going to do the fib-based retracement because I think that's probably what we're really looking at. Oh yeah, it's trying to. So this could be a bounce zone. It's on the .618, which is where you're more likely to retrace. So the question is, what is it going to do? And I can't tell you off the top of my head. Let me just look at what it is. Darden restaurants. So this is our view on the economy, really. Do you think that restaurants are going to keep taking off? Guides are higher. So if they're guiding higher, looks like their operating leverage is really strong. Their net income, they're pulling in like 212 million a quarter. And they got a $20 billion cap, 20 PE. I don't know what the restaurant business goes for. I really need to figure out different sectors and kind of what like their different ratios run at. That's probably another thing for me to learn really quick here. They got debt, but I think a lot of restaurants do. It's a lot of debt though, so that does worry me. Just like malls and retail stores and malls and all that crap, I just worry about it. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything too interesting in this though. There's a little bit of growth, but is this the bounce zone? Is it appropriately? It says $6.9 billion market cap. Is this Darden or no? No, this is DRI. I picked the wrong one. What is DAR? Darling Ingredients. Okay, so that explains why the chart doesn't seem to match. There we go. I think I might call it after this one, guys. Not doing very good. Big drop in revenue for Q4. That way less debt now though. And they've been buying back shares. I think I need to eat. Estimates are that it's getting better. but it's still kind of flattened out, hasn't it, the last several years? What was their net? 125 million? $7 billion company. I don't know. I hate the negative growth. It just doesn't excite me. And then it's like it might get better. There's like some hope that revenues are going to start to increase or maybe at least get to flat. But I don't know a lot about this. The Darling Ingredients. What is this again? So this isn't a restaurant. Packaged foods. Okay. Well, I don't know any more about the company, but a lot of institutional ownership. That's for damn sure. There's no little bit of short interest in here. I don't know if that's because of their debt load. I don't know why you'd be too short. It's already fallen a decent amount. But maybe they're looking at the same thing I am. Maybe they think it's going to drop through the .618 and that it's going to get down here into the 29 range. And so they're shorting it for that. Nothing too exciting, though, in the stock. And I think I am done. So an hour and 35 minutes. I'm going to try and get a little longer each time, guys. And the list is huge. So I will probably start doing this maybe on the weekend too, like on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. I'll have a cup of Joe, and then I can start rolling through these lists and trying to answer more so that I'm helping you guys out more. And another thing I want to do, thank you, Brian, for being an alpha, is maybe some of these charts. I want to start putting more of those under my pinned profile. So I might try and build that out, especially for the ones that are more popular, so that you guys can see them in there too and get an idea of like, oh, hey, are we getting near a support zone? And then hopefully you're learning from me how to look at these things. And so if I give you access to the charts and have them shared, again, in my pinned profile at the top, guys, make sure you go into there, because if you're not paying attention, or maybe you're just a YouTube person who doesn't even know about this, on X, I keep my portfolio allocation. I need to update this. This is a couple days old, so I'll update this tomorrow morning. But in here, if you scroll down, I keep charts. So of everything I'm currently trading, but I'm probably going to try and add to this too. I don't know how many characters I can pull off, but I'm going to try and add a bunch to this too. So if you want to see the shared charts that I have, you can just click like on CleanSpark, and then you're in it. And then whatever I just saved it at, that's what you have. So I'm going to probably try and build that out too, just so I can be more helpful to you guys, so that you can have this stuff in front of you. Add your recommended sites too. Yeah, I'll do that. That's a great idea. I like that. I'll add like visualstocks.com and and TradingView and some of the other stuff that I use. And then I've got referral links in there too, but I like that. I'll try and build that out too to be more helpful. That's a good idea. All right, I'm wasted. I need some food or I'm going to die. Jesse, what is the site for you use for financials? I'll put it in here. People ask all the time, so I just need to get it built in. Visualstocks.com. That's the site. It's really great. I love it. It's my friend. And again, I'm going to be checking out the stock MVP too, that my friend Tom was telling me about yesterday. I just gotta finish signing up for it, and then I'll start exploring that more. There's definitely some things I liked in there, like some insider sales stuff and just like institutional buying. There was some cool stuff that I saw, so I've just got to explore it, and I'll let you guys know if it's worth it. But yeah, you guys take it easy. I'm getting some grub before I pass out. Love you guys. Thank you for everybody that helps out and that helped out in chat, answering questions. All that stuff is super helpful. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.